Many people believe discipline is something you're either born with or not, a trait reserved for a few lucky individuals who simply have willpower. They assume that if discipline doesn't come naturally to them, they'll never be able to develop it. So they wait. They wait to feel motivated. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait for life to align, but that wait never ends. Discipline isn't a mysterious gift. It's a daily decision. You don't need to feel ready to take action. You need to take action so you become ready. It's not about inspiration, it's about commitment. Discipline is a muscle. It grows stronger every time you do what's right, even when you don't feel like it. Every time you keep your word, even when it's uncomfortable. Every time you choose responsibility over distraction. And the most powerful part, once that practice becomes habit, your results stop being uncertain. They become inevitable. Because discipline doesn't just transform what you achieve, it transforms who you are. And once you become a disciplined person, no goal is out of reach. It all begins when you stop negotiating with yourself and start following through. Discipline begins with a decision. A simple one that very few people have the courage to keep. Stop acting only when you feel like it. Most people live as the slaves to their fleeting emotions. If they feel motivated, they act. If they don't, they delay. If they feel inspired, they move. If they don't, they create excuses to stay stuck. But that kind of life is unstable, unpredictable, and completely incapable of producing great results. Discipline breaks this cycle. It doesn't depend on how you feel today, but on what you've decided to do every day. It's the bridge between intention and execution. And without it, your life becomes a pile of unfulfilled plans. Forcing yourself to be disciplined isn't an act of cruelty. It's an act of self-respect. It means your word means something, that when you say you'll do something, you do it. Even when you're tired, even when nobody's watching, even when everything in you wants to quit. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you can trust yourself. And self-trust is the foundation for any lasting success. A man who can't trust himself, who knows he breaks his own promises as soon as things get difficult, lives in a downward spiral of failed attempts and shattered confidence. Discipline also protects you from your most destructive impulses. It's not that disciplined people don't feel temptation. It's that they've trained themselves to choose long-term value over short-term pleasure. This control doesn't appear out of nowhere. It gets built every time you say no to what pulls you away from your goals, and yes to what brings you closer, even if the first option feels better right now. Each of those small decisions shapes your character, strengthens your mindset, and prepares you for even bigger challenges ahead. At first, discipline feels like a weight, but over time it becomes freedom. Freedom from laziness, freedom from indecision, freedom from needing outside motivation to move forward. When you are disciplined, you don't wait to feel inspired. You already know what needs to be done, and you do it. That puts you ahead of almost everyone, because while they waste hours debating if they should act, you've already made progress. In every area of life, health, finances, relationships, career, discipline is what separates wanting results from getting them. You can have the best strategy, the best tools, the best intentions, but if you don't force yourself to follow through, you'll go nowhere. Meanwhile, even with an imperfect plan, a disciplined person will always achieve more than someone waiting for perfect conditions to begin. Discipline doesn't wait for ideal circumstances. It creates them through consistent action. And here's what most people miss. Discipline doesn't happen in one day, but it does start in one. And that day can be today. The day you decide that your emotions no longer control your actions, that your excuses no longer dictate your progress, that your word becomes the highest authority in your life. From that moment on, every step you take, no matter how small, becomes an investment in your future. And when the results come, they won't be an accident. They'll be the product of your strength to do what needed to be done, even when you didn't feel like doing it. Discipline is a constant battle against your own instinct for comfort. As human beings, we're wired to choose ease, to seek pleasure, to avoid effort. That instinct was useful for survival once. Today it's a trap. and it's keeping you far from the life you could have. Unless you break that pattern, you'll stay stuck in a cycle of temporary satisfaction and long-term regret. Force yourself to resist what's easy. Force yourself to choose what stretches you, because that's where real growth lives. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the filter that separates those who dream from those who deliver. And discipline doesn't always mean doing more. It means doing what matters most, even when it's not what you want in the moment. It's not about working 14 hours a day. It's about working the right hours on the right things without distraction, without delay, and without running from discomfort. That means shutting off your phone when it's time to focus, saying no to invitations that pull you away from your path, cutting out activities that offer pleasure now, but steal progress long-term. Yes, those sacrifices hurt in the beginning, but over time, they become automatic, just like breathing. A disciplined man is not controlled by how he feels, because motivation is temporary. It fades, but discipline doesn't. And that makes you consistent, predictable to yourself and unpredictable to everyone else. While they wonder if you'll take action, you've already taken it. Eventually, you'll discover something incredible. Discipline has a compounding effect. At first, it drains your mental energy, but later it becomes a habit. And habits require no motivation, no inner debate, no resistance. You just do it, and every area of your life strengthens. Your body improves if you stick to your workouts. Your finances grow if you stick to your plan. Your mind sharpens if you continue learning every day. Discipline isn't rigid. It's not about clinging to a plan that doesn't work. True discipline includes the ability to adapt, to adjust your strategy without abandoning your commitment. Be flexible in your methods, but unyielding in your purpose. That's what allows disciplined people to stay in the game for decades, even when life throws them curveballs. At some point, you'll have to accept, not everyone will understand your discipline. They'll call you obsessed, too serious, too extreme. But those comments usually come from people who've never felt the pride of accomplishing something through long-term consistency. They'll see your effort as unnecessary, but you'll see it as the only way to live a life with pride and without regret. Because discipline doesn't just give you results, it gives you the certainty that you did everything necessary to get them. Forcing yourself to be disciplined means breaking the cycle of excuses that most people carry their entire lives. Everyone has goals. Everyone says they want more. Very few are willing to pay the price, and that price isn't always money. Sometimes it's discomfort, effort, sacrifices, lonely decisions, silent victories. Most people want the reward, but not the process that earns it. Discipline is the contract you sign with yourself that says, no matter what it costs, I'm doing it. And every day you follow through, that contract becomes stronger until it's unbreakable. Because discipline, when sustained, doesn't just change your day, it changes your life. It builds the kind of man who doesn't wait, doesn't hesitate, and doesn't quit. And when you become that man, there is nothing you can't achieve.